Yeah, I asked one time. I asked ChatGPT. I, I asked it to give me some information about solar punk, and then I asked it how much carbon it took for me to ask that question, and it immediately knew. It was like 18 grams of carbon. It was like the amount of energy that it takes to drive a car down the street. I guess. I mean, I'd be curious to see how much carbon it takes to do a Google search or anything, But
Yeah.
maybe if we can convince the AI that in order for it to survive, it needs to solve the climate issue, and then
That would be nice if you could convince AI to do that or find out a way that it can be more efficient itself.
yeah,
That would be nice.
I think it's already. This is we can't turn this train around. This is already happening.
Oh yes. Let's hope it can be used for the good.
Well, it's already used for good in a lot of ways.
Yeah, but also like I don't know, maybe not being used for maybe just like more regulation. Cause and I know anything that's like comes technology or the internet takes a while to get like regulations set in place. Um, but yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's just what we need. So just free everyone just doing whatever they want.
yeah, yeah. The people who are developing it have more money than any country.
Oh yes,
Well, that's not true.
maybe it's probably true.
Similar. Anyway, how are you doing today, Lily? It's just us and the AI, and you, me, Emmy, and the AI.
Yeah, yeah, very good. Yeah. AI looks like a very powerful. Yeah. So this guy in the news was saying he's asking AI what's the next move of one of these politicians,
Mm,
and AI. But a lot of times for that purpose, you find a lot of fake news. So how can I distinguish between good news and fake news? Like you, because the internet is full of, all kind of things, opinions that are not uh, marked as opinions. They are like marked as the truth. Yeah, as the truth. Yeah.
yeah,
So yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah, and that's what it's trained on. Is a lot of information that's not good.
But there is one thing in 30 states right now. 30 states under warning because of tornadoes. Yeah.
And AI is able
Yeah.
to help.
Um, and just to predict, just to find, yeah, to find information, but as far as preventing it, yeah. My theory is different. My theory is because all these things that or all these nuclear tests that they are doing in North Korea and all these places, because this is coming from the the sea, right? It's coming
Hmm.
from you know the ocean, the ocean. Something that has happens in the ocean has to deal with these tornadoes. And the other time that we had is uh, flooding in north, north, northern California. They say is the Toga volcano. Yeah, a volcano that is like in the South Pacific. But I don't know. It's like one thing causes the other. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Wow. So are they still doing nuclear testing over there? That's happening still?
Mm, oh, they do all the time. They do, all these. Yeah.
Hmm.
The development of nuclear weapons continues. The development of more powerful weapons, yeah, because they throw them to the ocean. Yeah. So I think like this has to cause something, right? Just like, you know, you throw something to the ocean and then the ocean has to respond with some movement, right? Yeah. Yeah, not all climate change and all this is caused by that, but a lot of this is, but it's hard to get into the clean, like the perfect, what was supposed to be for the year 2030, the perfect deal of, solar and what else? Wind. Yeah. Here we can do solar, but not everywhere, because in those places where don't get too much sun, yeah, when it's cloudy all day, it's hard to get solar. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know about the power outage that they had in Spain and Portugal last month. Is they say is not stable, is not it fluctuates too much, like solar and the wind. Yeah. Yeah, they are not stable, so sometimes they were saying part of that was this non-fossil fuel sources that are very, very variable. So I don't know. So let's see.
Wait, is Spain's power outage nuclear related also?
Well, they had a power outage for like several hours, and it part of the country was like for during a week they had problems. Yeah. So they had to borrow power from Morocco's, from France and from another country. Yeah. So they have like, yeah, so they had to borrow in the meantime to reestablish power. So because we depend a lot of power for too many things. So everybody was reading books while waiting for the lights to come, because they didn't have cell phone, they didn't have Wi-Fi, they didn't have signals. They had the regular radio. That's the only thing that was reliable, transistor radio. Yeah. So they just proved that we depend too much of electricity. Yeah. And the internet and Wi-Fi and the cell phones. Yeah. We just have to, a lot of things that we give for granted. Yeah. If they take them away, yeah, we are kind of lost.
I wonder how we can take that observation and use it to make better plans going forward. Like, how do we get people to stop needing so much energy in order to keep our brains occupied? Like, how do we convince people of that, or like offer them an alternative that's easy for them to just say yes to?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, what Brian was doing is perfect, just getting into these nature walks and, getting people to do more outdoors activities. Yeah, especially kids. Kids, this, they are hooking, they are hooking technology. So it's just, video
Yes.
games, yeah. So
How do you know about this workshop? Are you involved with the Climate Center?
no. Well, I'm taking a class. It's kind of funny. I'm doing a project that is kind of funny. I'm taking a class at the school, and then they talk about these workshops. That so I signed up for this one. Yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
And then the first workshop was about solar punk.
Okay.
I was like,
This-
well, that was my new vocabulary, solar punk.
Yeah, I mean, I to me that solar punk relates to what you're talking about, kind of like I think what you're saying, I agree with it. There's like a lack of appreciation for being in our bodies in the place we're at right now. And I think that we're losing appreciation for that more and more, and replacing it with stuff that is like surface level for our attention, where it's like it just kind of like nullifies, and the experiences are very short, and you scroll through them, and you don't think very hard about anything, and it's easy to get a lot of information in your head real quick. Yeah, I saw some like a thing about some kids in New York who are anti-tech, and they all refuse to have no phones. I think they call their movement No Phone, and they only communicate in person and stuff. Should look them up. They're pretty cool.
Like, then there needs to be a balance, well, because you cannot be like what is called, yeah, you cannot just be outside civilization and just like, because you're in a way getting isolated if you do that, right? Because like,
Yeah,
being normal, just have a balance, Mhm. Yeah, have a
yeah.
balance.
Dr. Joe, who runs the Climate Center, is my neighbor, and our daughters are close friends. And the Dr. Joe has, she's really involved in this movement, and a lot of things we've learned about, like that sort of Venn diagram about like where we're most likely to have an effective change. She did that in our community, where every Sunday she started with people she knew close, and then said, I'm going to go hiking here every Sunday. And so like she started a text group, and people are showing up to hike, and then more and more people are coming in, until there's like 30 or 40 people on this text group. And all the parents from the neighborhood, and we all take our kids hiking. The fires happened right in the middle of that, so it kind of took a hit, but I think that was a great example of like sort of like the spirit and energy of the climate movement, and how people we've met in these workshops are dealing with it, these sort of techniques for uh, um, figuring out how to not overdo it, and rethink how we make money, and do things and everything. Yeah, solar punk. Hi Anna, how you doing?
Hey Casey, doing good. Just got back from vacation.
Oh, cool. Did you go anywhere good?
Sorry, what was that?
Did you go anywhere good?
I went to Yosemite for the first time.
Oh, this is a good time to be there. Was it still any snow?
Yeah, there was snow closer to Glacier Point.
Wow, nice. How'd you like it?
It was fun. Yeah, it was really fun. Got to do some nice hikes, spend time with the family, good stuff.
Did you camp?
We stayed in Curry Village. So it was
Uh-huh.
like tent, but also kind of like a cabin.
Yeah, I've been there. Very cool. I'm jealous. That's awesome.
What's our focus for today?
The plan I have a deck here that just has all of the people that we've looked at so far. And I was gonna go through it, and I just wanted to talk about them and see what we remember about what stood out about them, and just a little bit of review. But you and Annalie and just showed up right now, and it's just been Emmy and Lily and I since the start of the workshop, and we've been just kind of jamming, talking. But I
Okay,
can
for sure.
bring that up right now if you all are ready. Part of what I'm doing here is I mean, like, I've explained this a little bit. Like, I'm a designer, and I think what I'm good at as a designer is like getting into a concept and then just completely getting in the like method acting. And I do that a lot commercially, and treating climate change marketing as a concept that I'm negotiating is I think really interesting way to do a workshop. But so like what I'm doing in the workshop is something that is sort of an example of climate marketing that I now have. So I'm turning that into like a finished document and showing you how I do it, because this is kind of what this comes up all the time. And I think for some people it might be easier than others to like organize what you've done and sell your experience to get more work. But for a lot of people, it's difficult. It's like a super not fun part of the job, the admin. But yeah, so this is a presentation in Canva, and I'm starting here by doing a page for each presenter, and I put their website as like just like a placeholder. But my plan is to just have this deck that shows sort of like the design, the design rationale that was developed for the workshop, the sort of and the needs of the workshop, and like talk about the people, talk about organizing the lineup of speakers. But it's kind of a work in progress. This is what I've been doing in the background for the past couple of nights when there wasn't a lecturer here. Who it was a long time ago. Do you remember Kelly? Grades of Green? Anybody?
Yes.
What do you remember about her lecture?
I think what I remember most is me asking a question on um kind of like what, can't remember exactly how I phrased it, but it was like something like, okay, in the midst of lots of people reacting to something, say like a news story, and I think I talked about the wildfires, and I think I had asked like, how do I balance not wanting to add to an overload of information, but then also sharing information. I think what I remember the most is her saying that like not saying anything is saying something. So I think that really struck with me as far as communications work. Yeah, I think that was a probably because it was a question I asked is what I remember the most.
Yeah, I always remember how I interacted. That's cool though. How does that show up to when you're not saying something? Like I totally get the feeling of like just overloading a crowded space in that you don't, what good is that? But then if you don't say something, how do people know you didn't say it?
I think it's the idea that silence is or can be just like a lack of like taking a stand on something, or you're not really doing anything. And I think um we have a responsibility to do something at the very least. And I think, or at least for myself, I would say that in a professional capacity, with the organization that I work for. So that's kind of what I took from it. But I think it's also just like a fear that I had, or, oh, I don't want to contribute to having people feel overwhelmed. But I think I was saying that because I felt overwhelmed by all the information. So
Yeah.
what she had mentioned is like maybe somebody really needs that information, um, or they'll really resonate with the information that you shared. And if, it just kind of helps you be connected with your audience.
Yeah. I think yeah, that's super insightful. I have this problem a lot where I sort of assume people have the same like general understanding of things that I do. And I'm not saying that I have a better understanding. A lot of people have a much better understanding of things than I do. But like I think it's natural for people to sort of assume, and as a designer, there's like a sort of a urge to get all the things on your to-do list for a design off the to-do list. But like my friend, he's doing this app for learning how to lucid dream, and he sort of assumes that everybody knows how to lucid dream. You know what this is, where you become conscious in your dream, and therefore he thinks everybody's sort of like has this complicated idea of this, and nobody does. Most people don't even know about this, and he's sort of setting out to be an evangelist for the concept on social media. And I'm telling him, all you have to do is just talk about the most basic things about this subject. And, like you can make a lot of content out of a little idea, or you don't have to like try not to assume that people know what you know. You can like conserve maybe if you like you got a paragraph of information in your head, you could turn that into 2 months of social media content. But we assume that it's like it's a self-awareness matter, and some of us have more of it than others. I have to apologize because I have like a tangenting issue, but it's not as much of a problem in person because I can like interact. So yeah, there's Thomas Yount. I'm curious, has anybody ever seen this game in the wild? Is it something that has anybody played it? I have a really hard time playing video games. I mean, board games. Too antsy. Yeah, I'm trying to just figure out what information needs to be on these pages, what kind of things I can include, and how do I want to present it. Like this sort of graphic system that has emerged from making these flyers probably should be reflected in the design of the pages. A lot of times in a branding project, you're going to have like deliverables, and maybe one of the deliverables is the logo, and another one is the font choices, and another deliverable is the color palette, and another deliverable is the presentation template. And it should be within the same sort of design strategy as the rest of the stuff. But all these pages have consistent element. That's a flyer and a name. So it should probably be like the name, the flyer, and then just a little paragraph about them and what they talked about in the workshop, or with the title of their talk. Climate Cools Down, a game about saving Earth. Yeah. Sort of like standardizing here. Something else I noticed about Canva right before I logged on, I was making links to stuff. Like I wanted this to link to Thomas's website. So when I was showing it, I could click on it real quick if I needed to. But I saw something else. If you click on something like the flyer, and this is a presentation document, and then I have all my other documents here in Canva. So if I go here and I say link, I can put a URL in there that'll take me to the web, but I can also link to other files. I'm wondering if I can clink. Yeah, here's some other documents. Climate marketing workshop. There's a copy. That's the one. Oh, it'll take me just to the. Oh no, that's not what I want. Sorry. I thought it would take me to that other document, and then I could like edit the flyer and then come back. If there's a way to do that, that's really good. That's amazing. I love it when there's a database associated with sort of like the design of a system, like a database that can be accessed from other points. Mark O'Brien, this guy was like rock star, varsity level climate designer. What did you take away from Mark O'Brien? This is something I'd really like to know. How about you, Annalie? Are you there?
I feel bad because I think this is the presentation I remember the least. I think because it was one of the first ones, and yeah, I'm trying to refresh my memory on what we talked about. But I think this might have been we were looking at a website is kind of what I remember, right?
Well, yeah, he has this it's a website called Climate Designers, and then there's a social, like a built-in social network. I'm gonna expand my sharing here. We'll look at the web together. This. What if every designer were a climate designer? And then I think that, where is it? I think this is cool what they're doing. I've mentioned before, I went to the Climate Designers LA meetup at the Brand Library. That's where I met a lot of the speakers but it was really nice, a really cool group. It's been a long time since I participated in like a deliberate networking event. Like, I don't know if I went to like a graphic design meetup, that would not be interesting. But like a graphic designer's interested in a subject, that's a very interesting kind of meetup for me. And it kind of helped me understand the value of doing that kind of thing. It's been a long time since I did that. trying to log into this the website thing. I get emails about it all the time. What I appreciate about Mark is his ability to sort of like he's got a very big picture in his mind about how to organize all this stuff. Got a podcast, Doom and Bloom. I think that we did something like this in our session, the Think NATO. It's kind of interesting way to deal with a social media campaign. You can see the campaign laid out right here. Or I guess, I don't know if it's campaign, but whatever. Those are podcast covers, podcast cards. But I enjoy just looking at those three images and then thinking about like, I try to empathize with the designer and I'm like trying to figure out what was on their plate, what was the ask, and how they solve it. It's interesting. It has a vector object in the background and then like a selection, like a Photoshop selection. Prime. Peaches. Yeah, interesting. Oh, you can see more of the Doom and Bloom graphic identity here happening. This was really popular a while ago, having like a Greek statues. Yeah, I encourage you to keep track of these people because it's cool. I mean, network wise, it's like if you come across them and something and be like, oh yeah, I was in your workshop. That's a great way to make them feel like they can continue to talk to you. Amanda Lapham. What I remember most about Amanda is that she feels like climate change needs to be made more cool and accessible for newer generations. And oh, sorry, I didn't switch to the other app. I'm not going to. I'm looking at Amanda Lapham in the deck that I made, and I'm just going to go to her website, Hey Climate here, have a look around. Where is my Safari? I'm wrong with my computer. My web browser shrunk down into this tiny little thumbnail, and when I click on it, it moves to another browser. I've never seen anything like this.
I really enjoyed Amanda's presentation. I feel like it was one of the most memorable ones for me. I liked how interactive it was along the way, and um yeah, I liked how we were kind of like dissecting other platforms, and she would ask us like, what do you notice from this campaign? What do you think they could do better? things like that. So I really enjoyed her presentation.
When you're working at LA Compost, is this your first role in like communications, or is this something you've been doing?
This is my first role in communications.
How did you get into that field?
I feel like by chance. I started off as a California Climate Action Corps fellow, and the position required an element of communications work, but it was very minimal. So the focus was on composting, working at farmers markets, accepting food scraps, doing education, community engagement, and then there was a small portion that was communications work. And so I would make flyers, and they weren't the best starting off when I was a fellow, but then over time I really enjoyed the work. And after 2 years, I was offered a position um, to work solely on communications. And yeah, I've been looking to expand my skills in communications since I don't have a degree in this field.
Yeah, I really, I I I have this Instagram account, and I see your posts, and I think you're doing a good job. I'm kind of curious about that. You know, it's like I'm getting a little bit older, and a lot of the clients that I've had over the years are changing because of AI and stuff, and I'm always looking at like what skills of mine do I need to keep developing in order to stay viable or just to find work. And I see social media communications as a viable option more and more and more. It's definitely replacing print and a lot of things. I think a lot of times with career, it's a matter of learning the words that people are using to talk about stuff. Like we know what our skills are, but yeah. I have a friend who he's he's a simple guy, but he loves animals, and he's really good at writing. But he like his career got messed up before COVID, and I was thinking he would be good at communications in like animal rights sector, you know. And I was looking on Idealist, and there's a whole bunch of communications roles in that sector. I don't know if he's going to find a job, but it's really encouraging to me. It seems like nonprofit. How do you like it at LA Compost? Is it like compared to other jobs you've had? Is it you like that industry, or I call it a field, the nonprofit sector?
Yeah, I do. I haven't had too much experience working in nonprofits. Yeah, I kind of just fell into this right after school. So LA Compost is really all I know as far as a nonprofit role. But I think what I really like is my connection to the work. And I think I might have mentioned this before, but just being involved in the environmental work that was already in the community that I was born and raised in. So I think I feel really connected to the mission, and just have seen firsthand of how impactful this work is and can be. So I think that really keeps me motivated. I don't know if I would be able to, that's something that I fear too, if I'll be able to translate my communications work with another nonprofit that maybe I'm not as deeply connected to. But yeah, I'm trying to keep my options open. Anything environmental, nature really calls to me. So I think if I stay within that field, I should be okay.
Yeah, yeah. It's I, yeah. This is kind of what I was getting at, like with the way people are treated in the nonprofit industry. Like, I think a lot of people come to the nonprofit industry because they're sick of what they're seeing in like the work world, you know, like they encounter a burnout, or they're just sick of not making a difference, or not contributing with their effort, you know. And like yeah, I see a lot of times, like when I'm reading job descriptions in the green jobs, or like nonprofit stuff, there's a lot of focus on benefits and like work culture. And I wonder if, since this industry is sort of has a significant population of people who have been scorched by that work life, that the like this sort of activism nonprofit, you know, is using its funding to make the people who are in it have good lives. That's what I'm curious about, and that's what I kind of see indications that it's happening, and that makes me very hopeful. That makes me want to find a job in the nonprofit sector.
Yeah, they're great. I feel like Elite Compost is really understanding, especially, yeah. I mean, working on the field, it can be really hard, especially on hot days. And I think they really do a good job at taking care of the people on the team and making sure that they have the resources that they need to perform the duties, and they're very understanding. So haven't had any issues there.
Do you know this person, Hannah?
And yes, she's a newer programs assistant with the team.
Remember a while ago I told you I had a friend whose dream was to work at LA Compost?
Yes.
That's her.
Oh, that's great. I love to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to work with her directly.
Yeah, she's a dancer. She does house dancing. Incredible dancer.
That's amazing.
Yeah, this is great. This makes me so happy to see real people out there doing real things, and the design that supports it. You know, it doesn't have to be pretentious. It doesn't have to try and trick anybody into anything. It's just, we're out here doing this. Come on. You know, that makes me feel good. That makes me feel happy. Yeah, I liked the design in Amanda's site too. It's very trendy, and I mean, I really love working like trend based. As a designer, that's sort of like, it's stressful to be trend based because you sort of always having to change your style, and like yeah. But I think it's good to be able to do it, because it gets the eyes of the people who are looking at stuff right now. You want to like be like, look like you know what's going on, you know. It's not always the answer, and I think sometimes younger designers think it is, or at least I did. And I'm learning that there's more to life. Yeah, I think different designers have their own process. But for me, what's beautiful and awesome about being a designer, what I like to do, is just let, like, I'm looking at Amanda's website and I'm imagining her sitting in front of her computer, and she's got a file somewhere that has all of these buttons. You know, she's chosen, like, she's probably got a file with all the graphics for these physical buttons. You know, she's chosen fonts, all this stuff, and she's got like a folder somewhere that has Hey Climate in there, and it's got all these things that she's been making. It's got the file, like the documents that talk about this project, and she's building a whole world. It's like it's a tool set for facilitating this set of ideas, and it's so fun once it starts going and it's working. This is why design is great. It's hard to get here sometimes because the clients don't know what they want, but once you get here, it's really fun. As a designer, I'm always trying to get here. Sometimes people don't know they need to get here, and you're trying to lead them here. This is kind of what is going on here with this thing. It's done a little bit haphazard, like making it up as I go along for sure, but there is a system emerging, and I'm starting to like find colors I like, and it's building itself, and I have this little document. It's like, this is what I did in the spring of 2025. Oh, who's next? We had Amanda Lapham and Brian Young. I have to say this, but I think his lecture was my favorite. He had a way of like getting me out of my head, and like it was like simple ideas, but he really got me thinking about making a comic book, and making a comic book about things in my environment, or things in like just simple ideas in my head. And that's pretty amazing. It's I was really impressed. He's a good teacher. Lily, earlier you were talking about Brian also. We were asking like, what can you do to get people to not need to consume as much? Like, we have a system that sort of like encourages consumption in order to support itself, and that's, according to what I took away from what you were saying, Lily, is that that's our real problem. And the answer is things like what Brian is doing, where he's taking kids on walks. And there's a lot of truth there, a lot of wisdom. Does anybody know Brian here?
Only from the presentation.
Oh, okay.
Not personal. Know that, and I know that he joins sometimes a class in what is conservation, kind of. Yeah,
As an instructor, or like he's learning there
like
also?
a cool. Yeah, like he comes and just like a cool.
I gotcha.
Basically, he invites people from the school at the nature walks. Like, yeah, I sign up for that class, but my problem is that I'm too far away from the places where they go.
It's in the Baldwin Hills area, right?
Yes. Like, yeah. So I was
I want
like,
to go to
oh,
one.
gee, I just like Saturday going there is kind of.
My daughter's super interested in graphic novels, which I think are really good for kids, and I could totally see that being a super valuable experience for her to do that with him. Me too. I'm gonna do it. Whitney Richards, her talk, it had it was like a
I have
really
to say
educational.
this.
Yeah.
I have to say this before I forget, because he is collaborating with Emily Cobar, which you probably know that she's teaching that class is conservation, something like conservation. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's basically, and sometimes they do, some of the activities are, like cleaning up, yeah, from weeds. Yeah.
Like doing the work, like maintaining, or do they like
Like
pick up litter in wetlands or something? I feel like I know that.
no litter is basically like like plants that are
Oh, invasive plants.
invasive plants. Yes.
Interesting. Yeah, I know a little bit about that, 'cause I have a sort of like a plant interest that I partake in a lot, cactuses and stuff. And I was volunteering at the Huntington Gardens in Pasadena or San Marino in the desert garden, and I did a lot of invasive plant removal there, and they're everywhere, the invasive plants. This is Whitney's presentation deck. This is also interesting to me because in relation to what we were talking about with the climate jobs or like nonprofit sector, a lot of times when you're looking at these places, they are somebody who's like a nonprofit, a lot of times is involved in making policy, and like there's a lobbyist on the team, and that the whole nonprofit is based around that lobbyist going to Sacramento, and trying to get these things enacted. They're an important part of this whole thing. I'm going to put the link to this in the chat if you want to hold on to it. I mean, this one and Angel Anderson's lecture on user experience design were just like absolutely valuable, like just things there's you can only ask questions about so much before you run out of things to wonder about. I'm also making a document that has any sort of resources that all of the speakers provided, and I'm going to make that available to you. Thursday's our last class, so I'll have it by then, and I mean, hopefully it's not just me. It's okay though, I understand.
Just wanted to add, personally for me, I skipped out on this lecture. I don't really feel like it resonated with me as far as climate lobbyism. So just wanted to share that. I think for me, design is what I was looking for the most. Designer communications. So personally, I'm not too interested in like lobbyism. Just wanted to share that. I know that's not everyone's thought,
No,
but
that's totally.
That could be useful.
I love hearing everybody's perspective on things. I love knowing the perspective more than whether or not I agree with it. It's and I'm not sure what I think about that. But I guess it's just like I'm kind of new to this world. I know Dr. Joe, and like she's trying to get funding for stuff all the time, and she's really good at it. And like I don't want to be doing that, but I really want to understand it. Like I want to know like who the players are and what they do, and what motivates them, and like what they need, because a lot of times like if I have that information, I know how they're interacting, I know, so I just know the system that I'm in. I tend to be like that because I don't, yeah, it makes me feel safer, like if I know like what's going on, and then I can sort of be more empowered to do something. But yeah, I mean, where are you going to draw the line? Like you could learn about anything and relate it to this and be like, oh, I just need to know. Definitely not for everyone. But I'm glad that we had people who came and spoke who were not specifically designers. Like, it gets kind of boring if you're just talking about the way things look. It's like you have to, in design is absolutely dependent on adjacent things, like the audience, the client, the objective, so many things. When I first started designing, I had a job that I looked into, and I loved it. I was designing and like getting a lot of feedback from people, and like involved in this little art department, and it was like a culture, and it was really like inspiring. It got me going, and it was like, but all I design is stuff that they want. And I got a computer. This is in the 90s, so not everybody had a computer. And I started trying to design on my own, and I couldn't do it because there was nothing to design. Like I needed something. And you can make up pretend stuff to design, but it's not the same. Like it doesn't engage part of you that is trying to solve the problem. It's just the visual part of it. And you can be really bad at the visual part of it, but if you're good at solving the problem, so yeah, it's just, yeah, it's about expanding your mental model. And it's really good that you're learning on the job how to do this and finding out that you like it. Margaret To, another climate design rock star, I have to say. Reimagining our neighborhoods. This was also a cool activity, I thought, because when we made the sustainability guide for our neighborhood, that exercise, I learned a lot about people and like what was going on in their neighborhoods. It's one of the things that's a little bit hard about this sort of format with the Zoom, which I love. It's great. It's open to the community, but like just getting to know people and what they're doing is what it's all about. And like, yeah, a big part of that for me is like seeing them and hearing what they say. And I'm really curious about people, and I want to help. I love helping people. I like to listen to what you got going on. I like to look for things that I think are working in your strategy, and encourage them and offer advice where I can. Something feels really good about that. I like that pig too. Huh. I'm doing some detective work right here. So this is Margaret To, and this is her presentation I'm showing you. And she's showing projects she's done for Studio Saka, which is her design studio. And I'm seeing this style. Does anybody remember this style from today? Going back to climate designers, this is Mark O'Brien's organization. Margaret To and Rachel Celanese, or Rachel Jalanese, and Margaret To. I asked her how to say it. That's how she said it. They're the LA leaders, but the organization is based in San Francisco. And well, how do we get there? It was join the community. Oh, the podcast. Where'd it go? No, about partners, jobs, about vision. What was the name of that podcast? Doom and Bloom. Bam. I wonder if that's not Margaret Toe who did that design there. Because she's part of Climate Designers. And it kind of like makes me wonder, do they like meet remotely and they're like, who wants to do the design for Doom and Bloom? Or how does that work? I don't know. Or it might not even be to Margaret. I'm looking for other clues. That's what I do. I mean, I experience the world through symbols and color choices. Like it's like the way people are communicating with their choices. And I see all the time connections between things. I like this From Soil to Soul logo right here. See if I can show you something about this. Is that okay? That's one item. Save to keep. No. Oh, there it is. What happened to my mouse? There it is. Okay. And then I'll go to open a new tab. No. They make it so hard to just get an image. Copy image. Or how about this? Save image to downloads. There it is. It's a GIF. I'm gonna open this up in Photoshop. And I think it'll show me the frames of the GIF. Yeah, here they are. They're all in layers. So this GIF is 40 frames. Not that's necessary. So 1, 2. Wow, every single frame is pretty different. I wonder if she drew them all, or if she had an app that did this or something.
Perhaps you would do those to make an animation.
Yeah, there's this animation that was on her her presentation that she showed us. You see this, right? From Soil to Soul. I downloaded that GIF from her page, and then I opened it in Photoshop because I wanted to see how she made it. It looks so cool the way it's kind of like jiggling. It is so like as a graphic, it's so useful because it's like comes alive on the page right there. It's interesting to think about also because it really makes you think about like the worms and the plants and like all the life that's happening in the soul and in the soil. And it implies that the soil has a soul, and like working with the soil and growing things in the garden, working with your hands is a way to connect with your own soul. It's just really successful. I love it. When I was looking at it, I was like, that's probably only 2 or 3 frames. But you get a lot of mileage out of 2 or 3 frames. But then when I opened it in Photoshop, I just downloaded the GIF and then I opened the GIF in Photoshop. All the frames are listed as layers here, and they're all completely different. So I don't know if she. Yeah, that was my question: is if she had to draw each frame differently by hand, or if she had some like way to do this. But it looks like it's some of the frames look like they're scanned or something. There's like a texture that shows up on them, like a photocopy or something.
Is this to make it, for lack of better words, like wiggle or give it some motion?
Yeah, when you look at this on my screen, do you see the animation on the letters?
Mm-hmm.
That's I was just curious how she did it. Yeah, it makes the
Okay.
letters wiggle. And you see this a lot in cartoons and stuff, like on the credits, if they want to make stuff look more alive. If you just draw the exact same letters a couple times, even if you don't try, they're still gonna wiggle. It's cool. Trying to there used to be a palette in Photoshop that showed the frames. It was called. I have this problem with Photoshop where they change it so much all the time. It it's like embarrassing and also offensive. Like you have to really keep up with it. You know, you have to really be down with Adobe. Uh, Frames. Maybe they got rid of it. Hmm. Anyway, I really like the way animated GIFs have remained a thing. Like when the first internet first sort of became accessible to people, that was like a massive technology because you could put animations anywhere in your website, and it's so easy to make them, and it transcends all the like whoever's trying to like monopolize the software at the time or social media or whatever, that they're still used. They're like 40 years old, that technology. It's cool. I love seeing this stuff. It's just cool too. Who's next? Rachel, you know, I'm gonna stop sharing for a second. I have her portfolio, which is interesting to see. Look at it together. I gotta dig through my email real quick. And I go to share. So I relate to Rachel because she's also coming from entertainment industry. And I think she also had sort of like a burnout experience and is shifting into a space where that's based on caring for the earth and each other. What could be wrong with that? So her portfolio is interesting because it's like a, rather than showing a lot of work, it's more of like a pitch for her personality as a designer, which I think is a really effective strategy. It's something I need to do. So she leverages experience in entertainment to craft impactful engagements around climate issues. And it's totally true. Climate Designers LA. And here, this is that campaign we were looking at. Where did her, oh. It's bold, a lot of bold energy. Unadorned. Another thing that I really respect and appreciate about this group of people is how invested in networking they are. And I think these sort of like collaborations with institutions and museums and stuff like that is the kind of stuff that happens when you have a good system for networking and like building a movement. Back. Sensitive scroll there. Yeah. I still need to watch this movie. This portfolio is also interesting to look at because as for a career pivot kind of thing, she's not including any of her old work. She's only showing like what she wants to be doing. Wait. No. Yeah. One thing I thought of when I was scrolling through this that I would encourage you to think about is just keeping stock, document everything you do that has to do with your career as much as you can. You can't always be doing it, but you never know when you're going to need like a screenshot of yourself in a Zoom call to show that you can do that, you know, like, or uh, you do this all the time in design, like just promoting yourself and like writing stories about yourself and like describing yourself and what your objective is and who you are. And there's a lot of things I've done that I didn't document. It's too much work. Great. I'll put this in the chat too if anybody wants to look at it on their own. And this light makes me look like a ghost. Yeah, and then after that, it was Angel Anderson. Also super curious what the rest of you took away from her talk. Because for me, it was really eye-opening. Or are you all familiar with like UX world and that whole rationale of sort of like using humans and like interviewing and doing research before making decisions in design? Because I didn't learn about that until much later in my design career. And it seems to rule everything I do, but I've never really had a true understanding of it. It's like a higher level, you know? Like just the practice of problem statements. I think you could really take that, you definitely take it too far. But like, you know, like you can wake up every day and be like, what's the problem with this bedroom? You know, and like use some rationale, like a system, UX system to figure out what's wrong with the bedroom, and then spend your day fixing it and like using the system to figure out exactly what you need to be doing. And like, what is the question that you're always asking? Like, because it's very reductionist. Um, yeah, it's been stuck in my head ever since. I want to know. I want to know. I want to be able to go into a place that I'm having an issue with and be able to explain it with that sort of like reasoning. Like, well, this doesn't need to exist. That's some Jedi stuff for a designer. Because you're always working with people's objectives. And like sometimes people don't even know what their objectives are. And like, they can't articulate them. They need you to design things in order for them to see what they're thinking. And it's a lot of extra work. Yeah, you want to like having a system for being able to sort of like show people the limits of their thinking, to make them feel like that they can trust you, uh, to make them feel like they're making a good product, and to actually make a good product. And Michelle, I didn't realize her project was at such an early stage in its development, but she's a real mover and shaker. She was the director at this place, Arlington Gardens in Pasadena, which is really nice. Like she was explaining it, it's a donated space that has some funding, and she was like the only employee. Yeah. Like this is all her creative direction, all of her, like, she's handling everything.
Are you? Well, I don't. If you're screen sharing, I don't see anything. If
Oh,
in case you were.
I stopped screen sharing in order to find Angel Anderson, and then I forgot to start again. But it's okay because I didn't show anything for Angel Anderson really. Um,
Yeah, I was a little confused and I thought you were just talking out loud, but then I was like, no, it sounds like we're meant to be seeing something.
totally something that could have happened. Um, but I guess it did happen. Anyway, yeah, she was the director here for many years, and they did some kind of like shady stuff and found a cheaper way to keep it running without her. But I know what she's capable of, and it's going to be amazing to see her like treat a PhD program, like use the resources of a PhD program for this project that it's called the Urban Ecology Conservatory Urban. Yeah, I mean, it can't be a new idea. I had a teacher in college. His name is Brian Ulrich. I think I talked about this already. Um, he he had this famous series of pictures where he would hide his camera and go into malls and like take pictures of people shopping. And the idea was sort of like talk about consumerism and like just show what we've become. I guess it's art, so there's a lot of stuff going on in it. But he later did this project that was all abandoned malls. I think this is from that project. This one right here. And this was in, malls had been abandoned for a while, but this was it was a newer phenomena. Um, that's Circuit City. I don't know if anybody remembers Circuit City. So like the idea of like repurposing malls and like it's been around, and it's so ridiculous that malls were like this big part of our culture, and then it's just deleted. There's no longer part of our culture. There's a couple malls that still function. But to me, that's like the ultimate solar punk move, to turn a mall into like a people run space. In fact, does anybody play that video game Cyberpunk 2077? It was popular a couple years ago. I don't play video games, but I played that one. I think that your apartment you start off in, it's in the future. Your apartment you start off at is in a shopping mall, and it's in one of the shops. And it's kind of like it's been turned into a space. It's like people doing stuff everywhere, and they're incredible. Like they're like if you remove yourself from the moment that they're in and think about it, just like this piece of architecture, it's a space where people can go and like it's like multi-level, and it's this huge space, this huge atrium, cavernous, super beautiful. Like to reclaim that from what it represents. To me, that's what solar punk is. But it's not. It's not about the reclamation. It's about depicting what happens after it. And I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in experiencing that. But the reclamation is the only thing we can take action on. Yeah. Good group. Um, all of these presentations and stuff, I'm going to share them and I put together like a document that sort of like outlines what we just talked about. And you can, something you can use to just remind yourself of what we learned here and like who we connected with. And we'll go over that next on Thursday. And if anybody has done the project, that will be a time to talk about it. And I understand if you don't, I'm not going to be mad. But there is an internship involved with this that I know some people are interested in this class in order for to be more competitive for that internship. And doing the final project will definitely help with that. But it's not like you're on the hook for it. Yeah. I'm gonna get going here, and thank you so much, Anna and Lily and Emmy, for being here and listening to me babble. I hope there's something good.
Is there actually space for a question? Or...
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Wasn't sure if you were had
No,
to
no,
run
no.
off.
I'm just kind of ran out of material here.
Yeah, firstly, I wanted to add that I found your, what do I call it? Your presentation on, I guess, I don't know what to call it, but there was one day where you sort of were talking about solar punk, and you had kind of like inspo, and we went through different photographs that you had collected, like flyers. I remember one was like, okay, what if we thought about solar punk, or right, yeah, solar punk being imagined as like the sun. There was another one that was more kind of like a Asian drawing inspired. You just kind of had a presentation that had all these images,
Yeah.
and I really liked that. I found it very insightful. I found that very I don't know, for some reason that kind of sticks out to me a lot from the learning. So I would say that was one of the classes that I really enjoyed, and just kind of seeing how you thought about different aesthetics and how you can take an idea and it can just go in so many different ways. So yeah, just wanted to share that was one of my most memorable classes that you led, and I really enjoyed that
Thank you.
presentation.
Yes, I that's my favorite thing to do. One time I got a job and they hired me. I think I have a problem where I repeat stories, but they said, I said, what do you need me to do for this job? And they said, we need you to shepherd this idea. And that was, it was so flattering that somebody would want me to do that, because that's exactly what I like to do. I see patterns in the way people are expressing themselves and what they're focused on, and I sometimes it's symptomatic of our culture as a whole. And I love working with ideas and drawing connections between things. Always looking for ways to just do that. Makes me really happy that that you were able to get something out of it. And I hope that solar punk is more than just a propaganda dream, you know?
Yeah, definitely. And then I also wanted to ask, I think it kind of goes hand in hand with that presentation. I had mentioned that I'm working with a group of volunteers that are putting on a gear swap.
Yeah.
So it's like a free gear swap, and we're barely getting to the stage where folks want to talk about the design. And we've been working out more logistics behind the scenes. So I was like, I really want to do a little slide deck, kind of similar to how you did with solar punk, and just kind of
Yeah.
picking different color palettes and inspo to see where folks want to go. But that's where we left off. Our next meeting is on Thursday. So I was thinking maybe that could be the start of my project. I don't know if I'll have it
Hell
fully
yeah.
fleshed out by the end of this by Thursday, but yeah, if you have any advice on kind of just picking a color palette or an aesthetic, I think you kind of went over that during that presentation, but if you have any specific pointers.
What are some of the things that you have talked about so far with the gear swap with the group?
As far as what?
Like, you said you've been, sorry, my mouse turned into some kind of, you said that you've been doing logistics so far. Like, I think probably like hashing out the structure of the endeavor, but you haven't done any of the design yet. Like,
Right,
what are
exactly.
some of the aspects of the project?
Yeah, so the purpose of the gear swap is to have folks come in. We want to make it inclusive, access to folks that maybe don't have um access to gear that can be very expensive. And so this is a free gear swap. Folks who just come and take free gear. The focus is kind of like nature. We are in contact with groups that are focused on recreational activities, protection, like conservation groups, things like that. And so far we've been mostly talking logistics of location, and we finally secured a location for it. It's going to be at the Audubon Center at Depps Park. Um, we've been talking about kind of like the registration through the website. Trying to think what else we were talking about. Whether we want to accept donations, because at this time it's volunteer run. And we've been talking about just grants that we could apply to, and maybe the donations we accept can go towards next year's funding of this event. But overall, yeah, we want to inspire folks to just kind of get outdoors, and hoping that this gear swap we're able to get folks out there by increasing accessibility. Last year they had a teach me how to camp um what activity, a teach me how to camp activity. They had a yoga activity. So it's kind of just like enjoying the outdoors. So it's very like outdoorsy vibes.
Outdoorsy vibes. Okay. And it's a gear swap. That's very, there's a lot like of cool imagery in my head already, just thinking about the concept of a gear swap. Like, what I would do if it was me, like I'm listening right now to what you're saying. This is like what I'm waiting for in any design project, is this moment when it's like, what do we got to work with? And then like, so I'm listening to you talk, and I'm thinking, so like, what associations I'm making, and I'm paying attention to them. Like a gear swap. I think about like, first thing that pops in my head is like right to repair law. Do you know about this?
Yes.
And like I'm thinking also about like people's interests, deep interests, uh tools for nerds. Like, um I'm making associations in my head, and some of them aren't going to be good, but I don't want to forget, or I don't want to like rule anything out. I don't want to get myself in a headspace where I'm like, oh, that's not going to work. We're only in a yes, yes, yes mode right now. So I'm like listening to you talk, trying to make connections, and then some of these things might be a vibe, like, so community access mixed with, I like the reason, like, sorry, I'm just showing you my brain right now, but like right to repair, um I love this. There's no reason why people shouldn't be allowed to repair their own stuff. It's ridiculous. That is an example of a broken system, you know? And then for me, it's very easy to start connecting that to community access. You know, if you went to the repurposed Hawthorne shopping mall and found the gear swap group, you know, that's right next to the repair group, and people are just doing it because they like to, you know, then we have overcome. We've won what it means to be a human. We won that fight. So anyway, you know, like if you're with a group, you know, and there's other creative people in the group, keep track of all these things. A lot of times people use Post-its, you know, and then what I do, once something starts to gel, I go on Pinterest. Sometimes I don't use Pinterest. Sometimes I use Pinterest and a deck. But like this is my Solarpunk one. And I just start pinning things that are associated to this sort of like trajectory that we mapped out with our initial creative meeting, you know? And again, I'm not ruling anything out at this point. I'm looking to get inspired. I'm looking to draw connections between things. Like this thing with the hoodies, it has nothing to do with Solarpunk. But for some reason, to me, it looks like it might be the right look for a Solarpunk. So like, I just let it be in my board. And eventually, down here at the bottom, I went over this before, but this board has all kinds of vibes mixed together, but they're ones that I'm feeling, you know. Now I have an algorithm that's based on the vibes that I think are good for that thing. And I'm a designer, so like I have good taste. But that algorithm starts recommending things that blend the vibes that you put in there. It knows if something is going to be a mixture of like a sun bleached hoodie and a GOG Signon, you know, if there's something out there, it's going to find it. So you start to be able to draw connections. You use the tool to draw connections between the vibes. And this is a great way to do things that are original, that aren't like copying something that's new. And that's how you set trends. And that's how you see people start copying your stuff. So it's a lot better to be on that end of it. But I start, so that, yeah, like I'll start grabbing stuff and I'll be like, I'm not, like, this is the right to repair one. There was another thing that I was just, sorry, we're almost at the end of the time here, but I love your question. I have a board on Pinterest called, what did I call it? This is my ADHD mind right here. There, DIY DAP, digital audio player. For a while, I was thinking I wanted to build my own digital audio player because I'm interested in this kind of stuff too, like not throwing stuff away, recycling, fixing electronics. My whole garage is like a workshop. So I was gonna make my own like MP3 player. So I was sick of having an iPhone. But sorry, it started to turn into a vibe. You know, it's like this sort of cyberpunk vibe where you're like, it's like something you needed to make in order for it to work, but and you made it out of stuff that you had, but also like it looks cool. And then the looks cool part is like, that's your vibe. That's your vibe for your campaign, you know. Not this specifically, but I'm speaking hypothetically. But there might be something here, you know, like rebuilt things, like something that's like super dope that you just can't find. It's original. It's one of a kind. And it's like that because the person who made it doesn't care about consumerism. They care about the things that the stuff makes, that it does, the tools, you know? When is the gear swap?
In October.
What kind of stuff? How does it work? Like, what kind of stuff can you bring?
They're getting donations from connections that they have from Sierra Club and Nature for All. And folks, I think anything that has to do with outdoor gear or camping, so folks can get like jackets, sunglasses, pants, shoes, backpacks. And I'm trying to remember from photos I saw from last year's gear swap. I think there were a couple of tents, and like camping kitchen appliances. So I think it's just whatever they had, kind of
Okay,
laid it
that's really
all out.
good to know. It's super good to know. I mean, my mind was instantly going to like some weird cyberpunk direction. But if a lot of the donations for the Gear Swap are outdoor equipment, then you have a theme that you can capitalize on, like not capitalize like a capitalist, but capitalize like creatively, you know. Outdoor theme is a little bit more, in my mind, right off the gate, something that's a little bit harder to be original in that world, but we aren't trying to like be reinvent the wheel right now. Oh, sorry, I've been switching back and forth. Doesn't really matter. I'm in
Yeah, the
Pinterest right
first
now.
thing I thought of was, which might be a little on the nose, but kind of like that national park vibe. That was kind of all I could think of.
Yeah, all you have to do to like get somewhere with that is to like think of the national park vibe and you know, maybe even find some examples of it, make a board of national park vibe and really articulate what national park vibe is, you know, like and find it from different sources, like find different examples of national park vibe to show that it's something you see in the world. It's not just one specific designer, you know? And then you have that board, and then now you have this thing that represents something that you need to explain. And people in the room might not know what National Park Vibe is, you know? That's your way of showing them. And it could also be your way of showing them what you don't want. You know, like this is kind of something you see a lot, and I don't know if we're going to stand out if we use this. And then you show it to them, and they're like, "Okay, that's what you mean by that. Maybe we don't want to do that." I personally think that you could probably get away with National Park vibe. I'm not trying to like put it down. I'm trying to find this font. I saw this last night, something completely unrelated. And I thought, wow, that would be a really good National Park vibe font. Why did I do that? I never think about that. I'm not going to leave without finding it, FYI.
The cool thing is we do have a illustrator on the team
Oh,
who yeah, can make illustrations, but I think they're really busy right now. So they're more of like, give me a direction and I'll go with it, rather than kind of thinking more of the design itself. So
yeah. I think like what you did with that other one we were looking at the other day, the one that had that sort of dopamine design aesthetic. This one, like like I think you're making good choices. Like I'm looking at the LA Compost, like the vibe, like as I scroll through it, you know, it's pretty consistent, which is good. A lot of times it's not. A lot of times there's like a lot of people involved, you know, and this kind of changes it a little bit too. Like, what do you want it to look like? Yeah, camping ranger vibe, I think is a good move. Yeah, I think just, you know, if I was doing this, I would want to stake out the territory just to avoid doing something that the guy next to me is also doing, you know, and also because it's more fun to design based on your own ideas than it is to match a vibe. But matching a vibe has its place. Yeah, here, let me, I'm gonna link you to this font in case you need it. Am I sharing still correctly?
Yes.
It's called Forester, and it comes with these little things. You might not even need to buy the font. I just, maybe it's like a good inspiration. I'll put it in the chat. Thank you for that question. I love that. That's so good. I wish that I could help more. I love just the feeling of comprehending somebody else's project. It feels good to me. Like, oh, I understand what you're doing. that feeling, I love it.
Oh, this is a great font.
Yeah, it's good. It's it doesn't have any lowercase, but you know, you might come up with like a system where you're like using it to talk about the gear swap, and then maybe it comes up again. You know, like maybe you want to dip into that voice for something else. You're like, remember when we did the gear swap? This might be like that, and then you use that font in order to like bring that voice back. You know, the nature, the get outdoors voice that you have in your pocket as the communications manager at LA Compost.
For sure. Yes. Thank you so much. This was really
No problem.
helpful.
Yeah.
Alrighty then,
everybody.
since it's almost time.
Yeah. Tune in on Thursday, and I'll have some really useful stuff for you. I won't leave
Awesome.
you empty-handed. Thank you,
Thank
Lily.
you.
Thank you, Emmy.
Thank you.
See you later.
Good night.
Well,
Bye.